Welcome back to the channel. This is the Action Figure Grader, and today we're going to look at recent sales for the vintage collection. I don't have a lot of sales to go through, so it's not going to be a terribly long video. I did want to share this, though. I got in the mail from Alex Winter over at Hakes Auctions. He's one of the principals that runs Hakes. He sent me a copy of Antique Toy World. This is December of 2024, and as you can see there, it's got the Jeff Jacob collection that is going up for auction in various stages next year, and I've talked about that in my Hakes video, so I'm sure we'll do plenty to talk about it. But the cool thing about this was, maybe a month or two ago, Hakes asked me to comment on it because they wanted to include some commentary in the article, and so it was really cool to be quoted in the article that you can see here with Jeff's collection. I'll read you what I wrote. I don't even remember saying any of this, but I'm sure I did. The best word to describe Jeff's collection is meticulous. Many would consider Jeff's dedication to assembling one of the most complete collections as second to none. While the never-ending search to add another missing piece to one's collection is its own reward, as it certainly is the case for most collectors. I think we can all agree to that no matter what we collect. It's just the search is really the fun part of it. Finding high-grade examples for some of these character and card back combinations borders on impossible, Action Figure Grader host John Rula said. And they've got a few other quotes in there, but I shared, the highlights on Rogue 5 Toys and on my own social media, but I just thought you guys would like to see that. Pretty cool that Alex was kind enough to send me a copy of the magazine. They do have a website. I don't know if it's on the website. AntiqueToyWorld.com, I think is the website, but I haven't checked it out to see if it's on there. So anyway, that's probably the first and last time I will ever be quoted in print media for collecting. So I just thought I'd share that. Okay, so let's take a look at some recent sales for the vintage collection. We're going to start off with Darth Vader Name Pill, Revenge of the Sith, Anakin Skywalker. Two different unpunched examples sold this past week. This one sold for $110. And we all know that the Anakin Name Pill unpunched is the harder one to find. But I wanted to at least show these since two of them did sell. Both of those did sell. This one was in a little better shape. The other one had a little bit of card curl and some kind of rough edges on the back. This one sold for $165. That one sold for $110. Next up, Power Droid. It's never a TVC market update without including some recent sales for Power Droid. It's a seller on eBay that seems to have a never-ending supply. Here is the Han Solo in Trench Coat Revenge of the Jedi offer list. So this is from the SDCC box set. This one sold for $45. I thought that was a good deal. He also had the clear lighter lightsaber for my favorite VC-44 Luke Skywalker Dagobah Landing unpunched US card. That one sold for $120. There was another sale around that same price point this past week. Clear saber VC-44 unpunched. Both of them sold around $120. So that gives you kind of a higher number to aim for. Ideally, aim below that. I think it's come back down enough that, we've talked about this one at length. So I'm beating a dead bush here, but $100 ideally, thereabouts. They also had a Lumat unpunched. This one went a little higher than market. It seems like Lumat's come back down just a little bit. I would say 6 months ago, yeah, 140, 150 was kind of the going number. I think if you're patient and maybe wait for an auction on a clean one, you might get it for cheaper than this. This one sold at $150 plus $7 shipping, but you are paying a premium for his case fresh examples. That's just a fact. And this one certainly looked every bit the part. This is an interesting one. This is not TVC, but I wanted to show it since it's Power Droid. This is listed as Hasbro Star Wars Episode 1 minis. And these were overseas exclusives. And so these were smaller than normal figures, apparently. You can see the kind of the distribution stickers for overseas China on the back. And if you guys know anything about these, I'd love to hear about it. I know I've seen some others, like multi-packs with minis for Episode 1 figures. There's like multi-packs with the droids and things like that. But You know, I always associated these kind of things with bootlegs, but you know, this one actually looks like a licensed product, unless it's a fake. But these are smaller than normal cards, smaller than normal figures. The figures are smaller too. So, but I have seen these occasionally. They're very rare. You don't usually see them very much. They must not be particularly expensive, because this pair of Queen Amidala and Padme sold for $40 plus $7 shipping. But anyway, it's just, since it was Power Droid, I wanted to, and these sold recently, I wanted to at least show them, because it's not something you see that often, and I don't cover episode 1 that much, but these are kind of overseas miniature figures that they do come in multi-packs as well, not just single carded figures. All right, back to the vintage collection. We had a Jar Jar Binks unpunched US card. I had somebody asking about Jar Jar VC 108 and what the good price is to pay for that. This one is about the going rate. You might be able to get it for less than 110. This one did sell for 110, but it was a very clean looking example, in all fairness. I would try to get $100 or under would be my number personally. 2 different Grand Moff Tarkins also sold. This was an unpunched US card and looked pretty clean. You know, I didn't see anything major wrong with it. It looked pretty nice at $100. And then this one sold also, you know, this week as well for $125. So pretty tight price point. And that's another one that has come back down to earth a little bit. It was kind of going 175 plus for a while there, but I think safely you can say 100 to 125 would be a good number to aim for Grand Moff Tarkin. Here is that unpunched clone Commander Cody. This one finally did sell. I had this, I believe, in a what to buy video. I know I sent it out to my Patreons in a buy it now alert, and he had it at $6.99, and then he dropped it to $5.99. And so it did finally sell at $5.99 with $25 shipping. But that's honestly, that's kind of the going rate for this figure, unpunched. Clone Commander Cody unpunched. That's a tough one to get, and it did finally sell. I don't know if one of y'all bought it or not, but I at least wanted to show that. It wasn't perfect. It had just very slight issues on the bottom of the card there, but I mean, who cares? It's an unpunched example. Trusted seller, by the way. I bought from this seller before, Giorgio Joe. I don't know him personally or anything, but I have bought from that seller. He also had a Super Battle Droid that I also believe I showed in a what to buy video. That one sold for $70. I thought that was a pretty fair deal for what that was. That was a nice looking figure there. Here is another Yak Face data point. I've had like 2 or 3 of you guys ask about Yak Face over the last month or so in private messages. Yak Face, a really clean example. 170 is very fair. I mean, that's a very fair number. You know, I would just look on the card, as I've already talked about, look on the card for scratches and like kind of semicircle packing issues. This one looked to be pretty good though. And the other thing, again, as we talked about, is the glue can sometimes come off on the blister. But assuming all of that's good, you know, 170 is a really good price to pay, I think, for the Haslab Katana Power of the Force card back version of Yak Face. Here again is that Miss card. Now, I think I covered this in last week's video, or maybe 2 weeks ago. I don't remember when, but this one sold, this exact one sold for $1,000 in an auction. And I guess they never paid. This seller's a seller I see regularly, so I don't think there was any shenanigans there. This seller relisted it, I guess, because of a non-paying buyer, and it resold for $660 in an auction. So that's a pretty good number there, I think, for this miscard combination of Grief Karga on the Boba Fett card back. That's a pretty tough combo to get. I've seen a couple of them out there. It's a legit example, but it's just one of those ones that it's not as common as some of the others that we've seen. Like, I don't know, there was like a Clone Trooper one that was a miscard that was a little more common, but this one is definitely, I've only seen 2 or 3 examples of this one. It had a little card scuff on the left-hand side, as you can see there, to the left of the blister. But still, it's a miscard. It's a factory miscard. It's a legit example. $660, that's probably a price I'd be willing to pay if I was into these miscards still. I used to have a bunch of them, but I've sold them off since then. I just kind of needed the space, and I figured that somebody else could enjoy them instead of sitting them in a drawer in my collection room. So that one did sell for $660. This I thought was a really good deal. This was an auction for the SDCC Death Star box set, and the box looked pretty good. I didn't see any major issues with the box. There was one little crease right there that you can see, but almost all of them do have creases on it just because of the size of these things. But the contents were 100% complete. It included all of the Revenge of the Jedi figures, along with the Mouse Droid and the Salacious Crumb. And again, maybe because of the Salacious Crumb reissue, that not only is the Salacious Crumb original going to go down in price, but the entire SDCC box set is going to continue to drop in price. This one sold for $1,075. Before you get too excited, there was also $150 shipping on there. But still, you're talking $1,225 plus sales tax for that. Whereas we've seen some recent examples go anywhere from $1,400 to $1,600 either on eBay. There was one or two of these that sold on Heritage. So, to me, $1,225 is a really good deal, especially if you just want the cards and you don't particularly care about the condition of the outer box. I mean, the outer box is really cool, don't get me wrong, but what the meat and potatoes of this is definitely the carded figures on the inside here. So pretty good deal though for that SDCC box set. That's the cheapest price I've seen in a while for that one. Next up, this was a nice combo. The Y-Wing fighter plus the B-Wing fighter, and they weren't perfect, but the Y-Wing fighter was in pretty good shape. There's a couple scuffs on the B-Wing, but they were both factory sealed, and the Y-Wing is the Toys R Us exclusive. The B-Wing is the Kmart exclusive, and those together sold for $375 plus $25 shipping, which is not a bad deal. I mean, they usually go for about $200 or $250 by themselves, so you're getting a pretty fair deal. I don't know if it's a steal, but it's certainly a pretty good deal, I think, for both of those together. Next up was a Teddy box, but it was factory sealed, I believe. No, it was not. I'm sorry. This one was loose complete with the box, and the box was really tatty. But this is the Republic gunship. It's got, just a loose complete gunship with some clone troopers. So, most of the people that buy ones that are in tatty condition like this anyway, whether you're paying for a tatty box or not, you're going to be paying about that $450, $460 number anyway if you're trying to get this. I mean, it's very rare to get it for less than that for a loose, complete TVC Republic gunship. That's just kind of the going price. So, factory sealed, big and mint in the box. You could probably add $300 or so. Maybe you get lucky at $650, but usually they're going $750, I'd say, or higher sometimes. But I did want to at least show that one since that's another recent data point for those that just want to buy and have it for their shelf. Here is another data point for the AT-AT. This is the Return of the Jedi Toys R Us. And again, not a perfect box, but in pretty good shape. This one was factory sealed, and that one sold for $600, which again, we've seen a couple of them go for less than that recently. We've seen as low as like $460 plus shipping, so maybe $525-ish on the low end. So this one might be a little higher than I'd probably aim for the Return of the Jedi. The ESB, maybe spend a little bit more on that one, but it feels like the Return of the Jedi goes for about maybe $100 less sometimes. It just depends. But $600, that's kind of not a deal. It's probably more in line with the higher end of the market, given that it was also another $71 shipping. I think if you're patient and you wait for an auction, you can probably pick this up in the $500 or below range, but maybe I'm being optimistic. I did want to show that though. Next up, another Millennium Falcon sale. This one was very clean. It maybe had one little issue in the upper left, but another factory sealed Toys R Us Millennium Falcon, and that one continues to be very expensive. Now, this one did include free shipping, so factor that in to the price at $700. That one did sell at $700, free shipping. Usually they go, somewhere in that ballpark of $600. Sometimes, I think Brian's Toys had one in an auction that went sub $600, but that's pretty rare. Usually it's $600 plus. So I think with shipping being included in that price, that's probably a pretty fair number. Next up, the Ghost. This is still a pre-order data point, but this one, obviously this is starting to ship to everybody. So I at least wanted to show you what it's going for right now, including all of the tier unlocks. All of the carded figures are included in this sale. $619 free shipping from FedEx. That's a pretty good deal. I mean, it's not obviously the same price that you backed it at, but given that this one, it should be in hand very shortly, $619 free shipping on that one. That's a pretty good data point there. And then two graded items to round things out. This one sat for a little while. I was kind of surprised because it is an uncirculated X-Wing, and this is the Toys R Us exclusive early edition, not the reissue with the red box. You can see the Toys R Us logo on there, and this is AFA 9.0 uncirculated. So again, some crazy person sent in a sealed Hasbro case of these X-Wing fighters and got them all graded. So this one got the 9.0 uncirculated, and it did finally sell at $525 free shipping. You know, loose ungraded, I mean, you know, factory sealed ungraded, $200-ish, plus or minus. So $525 for an AFA 9.0 doesn't seem like a terrible deal if you have to have like all these uncirculated. There's our people out there that are crazy like that. So $525 free shipping, not a terrible deal there. And then finally, this was kind of a weird data point. This one was the Amazon exclusive 3-pack uncirculated 9.0 for Tika from Obi-Wan. And it did sell at $200, which is crazy to me because I feel like if you bought one of those Amazon 3-packs, you can send it in to get all 3 of the figures uncirculated, designated, graded. And I feel like you got a pretty good shot at a 9.0. So $200 seems like a lot to me, but that one did sell at $200, 9.0 uncirculated gold level Tika from the Amazon 3-pack from 2022. Anyway, that's all I really had. I hope you enjoyed this look at recent sales for the vintage collection. Please do leave me a like if you enjoyed the video, and I'll be back soon.